as we've hit the All-Star break, let's survey the top of the NBA standings. At the very top, the surprise of the season has to be the Detroit Pistons. With a record of 40-13, they top the entire league entering the break for the first time since the 05-06 season. Right behind Detroit, Oklahoma City, who top the West with a .750 win percentage. As they navigate some midseason injuries, Oklahoma City still first in the NBA in plus-minus as well as defensive rating. And somehow, the Boston Celtics are still hanging around as they await the return of star Jason Tatum from his Achilles injury. 35-19, which is second best in the East and fourth overall in the league. So why are we focusing on the top teams so much? Well, if you haven't seen this week, there's been this long-standing idea from the great Phil Jackson that to be a legitimate championship contender, a team has to secure their 40th win before sustaining their 20th loss. If you apply the 40-20 rule to this season, the Pistons and Thunder are the only two teams that have qualified this season. All right, let's start at the top. Chump. Is the world sleeping on this 40-13 Pistons team?
I don't think we're sleeping at all. I think that the OKC Thunder won the championship last year, and it's just hard to see what we're looking at. The Detroit Pistons have played phenomenal. They are for real. I think that they have, had a bunch of games now where we think it's gonna stop. We think it's gonna slow down. And then we watch them play a game that doesn't look like they're hot. It doesn't look like they're a hot team. It just looks like Cade Cunningham has a really good handle on what's going on. He knows how to win. The guy looks like a polished veteran that's been through, 4 or 5 playoffs, and he feels like he deserves to win at this point. That's the way I'm being presented it. And then you got JD coming along and playing well. They've got some other guys playing a good role game. I don't think they're under the radar. I think people understand they are for real.
For some, it can be hard to process because we've gotten so used to teams bombing and making a lot of three-pointers, and Detroit really struggles in the three-point department. They're just getting it done elsewhere. Windy, Eastern Conference has been very interesting up until the All-Star break. How many teams in the East can you make a case for winning the conference?
5. And I'm insulting the Toronto Raptors fans by not including them this week because I've been talking about it this week, and you could put them on there too, probably. The New York Knicks have at times shown an incredible ceiling, but their variance is crazy. You mentioned the Celtics having a tremendous start without Jason Tatum, and Tatum is getting closer to coming back. The Cleveland Cavaliers make a major midseason trade and very under the radar have been one of the East's best teams for the last month or so. Shump just went over how strong the Pistons have been playing, and last night they took over the #1 overall seed with Oklahoma City's loss. And Philadelphia, who currently have 2 of their best players out right now in Joel Embiid and Paul George, but when they're whole, have demonstrated they can beat anybody. All 5 of those teams have a shot, and I think that's as wide open as the East has been in many years.
Philadelphia and best players out, not exactly a new concept to Sixers fans. Shump, we were talking about the Celtics, 35-19 without Jason Tatum. Would they become the favorite in the East, in your opinion, if he can return seamlessly from injury?
If he can. I think that Vukovic, that trade, it helped. It fits. Vuk's been one of those guys that has always scored, and, with Jason Tatum coming back, I think he provides the same thing that was provided by Al Horford in previous years. And when you think of somebody like Jason Tatum coming back along, having Jaylen Brown do what he's done all season has to make you feel comfortable because now you can use him either way you want. You can bring him off the bench and you can play 2 different lineups, or you can go ahead and just start him out the gate and wait for him to feel like I don't have to force anything. JB's got it. He could take the reins and I can sort of play Robin until I'm ready to step in and do the things that I've done in previous years. With the Celtics moving like this, they're as good as anybody. I'm just spoiled when it comes to their brand of basketball, and I'm a little bit more excited about Detroit.
The job Joe Mazzulla has done this season, you just can't say enough about it. Now, a team that they've done business with in the playoffs before, the Cleveland Cavaliers, made one of the biggest trades right before the deadline, bringing in James Harden. Windy, the Donovan Mitchell, James Harden backcourt. Are they capable of making a run to the finals?
Absolutely. And, one of the things that was interesting this week is the LA Clippers made Darius Garland out indefinitely with that toe injury, which just illustrates we don't know when Darius Garland would have come back. And instead, they get this fully formed product ready to win now. And really, this move really serves Donovan. It should ease the burden on him some ways and open him up others. And you could already see Kenny Atkinson working with James Harden, putting him in the post, running guys off him, generating open three-point looks. The Cavs are only at the beginning of this experiment. It's a risk to make such a major move in the middle of the season, but the Cavs felt they needed to do it, especially to take care of Donovan Mitchell, and the early returns have been positive.
Jump in here. We've seen this with James Harden before, getting traded to a team, lots of excitement, and then they come up short. Is there reason to believe it'll be different this time around?
I think so. I think with James Harden, it's added a lot more than I initially thought of. When I thought of the hypothetical of him and Donovan Mitchell getting together, I didn't think there was enough basketballs on the court. After watching them, I agree with Wendy. I think Donovan Mitchell is very comfortable with James Harden handling the ball, taking most of the attention for as long as he can, and then Donovan Mitchell just sort of catches it on the second side and he's able to attack closeouts. The person that benefits the most from this is Jared Allen, who's been playing phenomenal, and the other guy that's going to come up big on the other end is going to be Sam Merrill.
The key for Harden, as usual, the ability to maintain the energy and production throughout the course of a playoff series, as we've noticed it drop off in years past as you get into the 5th, 6th, and 7th games. Gentlemen, let's stay in the association with a little game of sound off. Interesting people saying interesting things. Victor Wembanyama is taking over the NBA, right? Robert Horry says not so fast, my friend.
He's not in my top 5, though, but he is an incredible player.
Wait, he's not in your top 5?
He's not in my top
How?
5 because he hasn't played enough games for me to be in my top 5. And he's too inconsistent for me. And he's only averaging, 24 points? I think we're trying to anoint him as the next great too fast. Don't get me wrong, the kid is absolutely fantastic. But he ain't no LeBron James.
He's averaging 24, Rob.
Chump, Ori says Wemby isn't a top 5 player yet. At least not yet. Agree or disagree?
I disagree. I think it's hard to have a build like that, a guy that can fill up a stat sheet on any given night. The plus is that he's young. The plus is that he hasn't played enough games. But when I look at him, he's as good as any player I've ever seen come into the league and then have to add on to their game. He's done it fast. He's doing it, and he's maturing before our very eyes as far as learning how to deal with a double team. All that comes from playoff series, being the best player, and then having guys send that double team at you. He's seen triple teams already. If he needs to play more games to get the nod from Robert Horry, I get it. He's a legend. I don't want to step on Horry's toes or nothing, but I see it.
Wendy, we're only 2.5 years into it. The injuries have been a concern, and we haven't seen him in the playoffs yet, but what we have seen has been wildly impressive. Is he a top 5 player in your opinion?
In my opinion, he's in the top 5 right now. Now, if Robert is talking about prime Kobe and prime LeBron, that standard is outrageous. If you're talking about third season LeBron, for example, he mentioned only averaging 24. Kobe didn't average over 24 till his 5th season. Now, granted, he was playing with Shaq then, but I think what you're looking at, Victor, is not just what he's doing night in and night out, but you're projecting to what he's going to be. Just look at his body from 2 years ago to now. The physical changes are remarkable, and the more he learns to balance out his size advantage with how he wants to use his skills, I think the league is going to really fall under his sword eventually.
Chump, the Spurs have been a thorn in the side of the Oklahoma City Thunder this season. Do you see them as the biggest threat to the defending champs?
I think so. I think that even if physically they're not matching up well within the playoffs, I think that in the back of OKC's mind, that 4-1 bothers them. This is one of those feelings of, what is it about these guys that we can't get over the hump? And I think that when you play in a playoff battle, a lot of times the mental aspect will creep in and will be a huge factor. So I think that the OKC Thunder really will have to lean on SGA, but what better player to lean on the NBA right now than the guy holding 4 trophies, right?
Nothing better than the established guard taking on the young up-and-comers. That's the playoff matchup I think a lot of us are looking forward to. Gentlemen, thank you very much. At the break, DraftKings Sportsbook still in line with the Thunder to win the championship at plus 130. After them, the Nuggets are the only other team with odds shorter than 10-1. Your NBA leader, the Detroit Pistons, far back at 15-1. All right, itching to make a little money, so we've got a break. Let's go ahead and put together some best bets for the second half of the season, beginning with Defensive Player of the Year. Rudy Gobert, 14-1. Now, why is he priced so long? Wemby's your current odds-on favorite at minus 250, which is why you can get Gobert at 14-1. But what if we would remove Wemby from the equation? He's already missed 14 games. If he misses 4 more, he won't meet the 65-game threshold, which would then open up the world for Gobert's price to plummet. 14-1 is something I want to get ahead of now. To win the Eastern Conference, how about the Detroit Pistons at plus 350? If the Knicks or Celtics had Detroit's resume, they'd be a big favorite in the East. 5.5-game lead on the 2 seed, best point differential in the conference, best defensive rating in the conference. Yet, they're third in pricing. I see that as value, which is why we're going to make this bet. Again, if you took Detroit's resume and just slapped Boston Celtics on it, they'd probably be an odds-on favorite to win the conference. We're getting value because the Pistons haven't done it before. And then finally, Coach of the Year. How is Joe Mazzulla 6-1? Coach of the Year is generally awarded to a coach whose team exceeded expectations by the greatest margin. Just look at Mike Vrabel in the NFL. No one saw New England winning 14 games. What exactly were the expectations for Boston this year? No Tatum. The preseason win total was 41.5. They're currently on a 53-win pace with the 4th most wins in the NBA and the 3rd best point differential. This price is